Brandon.
I'll try to transition there.
You don't want to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers? Okay.
Obviously, you guys have a big exhibition coming up here.
Yeah.
As someone who has been around college basketball for as long as you have, we're seeing these new exhibitions come, and it's a trend. It's in front of fans, it's away arenas versus some of the private exhibitions that it has.
Providing reliable, affordable power.
What do you sort of make of that trend overall, and what are the biggest pros and cons that you see to it compared to some of the smaller stuff where maybe you could break out individual skill worker zone or things like that?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, normally it's been, behind closed doors and private, and you have more of a hands-on approach in regards to, hey, let's look at going up against a zone or going up against a press, or let's do situational stuff. And so, but there's huge benefits in playing games like this. I mean, obviously playing against such a really good opponent in BYU, it gives us an opportunity to be able to take a clear look at us on things that we're doing well, things that we need to improve on before the regular season starts. The same thing that happens in the NBA, and so it gives us a chance to do that. I think it's also really beneficial for us to go on the road. It really, to take a road trip, to be on a true road game, there's a lot that you can learn about your team. And it's something that is invaluable to be able to learn that prior to the regular season starting.
If I can follow up, I know sometimes one of the things that has also gotten lost in the crosshairs of these is some of the small North Carolina schools, for example, who would have an opportunity to come in and play here, and maybe that's not the case as much anymore. Are you concerned that those might fall by the wayside at all a little bit? Or?
Well, we're playing Winston-Salem State, and every year in exhibition season, we will play a North Carolina school, whether it be Johnson C. Smith or Winston-Salem State, because that's important to us and that's important to the state.
When you're playing one of these games, as a marquee type of matchup, and there's a lot of these going on in college basketball this week, like Brendan said, do you hold anything back in terms of, like what you might show? I mean, does it matter as much to put something on film that teams can scout even in the preseason, or you just you test everything and figure it out as you go?
No, I don't think there's a situation where you hold things back. I mean, I think there's situational stuff that we haven't practiced yet. And so in that scenario, you are playing, and you are playing what you have practiced at that point. And so that's what we'll do against BYU, and that'll give us a good indication on the things that we need to work on moving forward.
Hubert, along those lines, just going off what you're saying there, but Beard's question, what are the things that you'll be looking for as a coach of a new group on Friday night when you play by BYU? What are you looking for out of your guys?
Yeah, I mean, specifically the huge bullet points that we've talked about and identified every day since we've come together as a team. From a defensive standpoint, us being, and I've been clear and definitive, we've got to be a really good defensive team, good rebounding team, for us to have a chance to be the best team that we can possibly become. Looking at our pace, we play at tremendous pace, taking care of the basketball, doing a much better job this year, getting to the offensive glass. And so those are big picture, very important things that I'm looking for out of the scrimmage on our exhibition game on Friday.
How important is this opportunity for you to get a look at as many different player groupings as possible in this kind of setting?
Very important. It really is. You get an opportunity to do that obviously at practice, but that's against each other. Now being able to do that against another opponent is something that's it's going to be really huge for us.
So when people are watching, people kind of made too much out of some of these games. You're looking at this as a lab experiment in some ways to see what
I'm not looking at this as a lab experience. They keep score.
It's a free opportunity. I know Roy, I said lab went down before. It's stuck in my head.
Okay.
It's a free opportunity to see what you got and to look at all these different groupings. So what the intent going in, they are keeping score, you're trying to win, but how much of it is it to make sure you get a look at all those different groupings?
Well, it is important. I think it's both, and these type of games are very important for us in our development and in our growth as a team. And it's also an exhibition game. I mean, we did the same thing last year against Memphis, and we didn't have RJ, and we learned something about Seth in that game. Then going through the entire year, Memphis had a pretty good season, and we won 23 games and just got into the NCAA tournament. So there's a lot of value in these type of games, but it's also an exhibition as well, if that makes sense. It's both. It's both.
Hubert, you obviously recruit a lot of players, but AJ DeBansto was a really high-profile one. What's it kind of like just going against somebody like that so soon, and how's the relationship kind of continue? Obviously there's a lot of guys you get to meet and get to know in the recruiting process.
Well, I mean, AJ's not only an outstanding player, he's just a really neat kid that obviously is extremely talented out there on the floor, but he's also somebody that loves the idea of team and teamwork, and just watching a little bit of tape on them in their exhibition game against Nebraska, he's just continued to grow as a player, as a teammate, and but BYU is not AJ DeBanza. BYU is BYU, and it's a very good basketball team, and so with a number of talented players out there, and so we're very thankful for the opportunity to be able to compete against them this Friday.
Hubert, I wanted to ask you about, obviously, Luka. Do you have an update on his status, and has he been cleared at this point?
From an NCAA standpoint, yes. Institutionally wise, we're working on it, and we're making progress.
Do you expect him to play on Friday in Salt Lake City?
Possibly.
Bit of a pivot, but I just had a question about Caleb. He was sharing with us the other week. He likes to read like daily stoicism quotes. Obviously, you guys do the quote of the day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's something that you guys have like talked about at all, and just what do you think that says about Caleb, kind of just the guy he is, how comfortable and confident he is, just maybe that stoicism.
He is. He's very confident, and he's very comfortable. Honestly, I just came from a meeting with him just now. I texted him. I said, hey, I'd like to let's spend some time together before practice. He was like, I'm already here, coach. And so he just walked right up into the office, and we sat down and talked for about 25 minutes. And he's confident. He cares. And I don't know what else it's hard for me to describe from the standpoint of just what a great person, a great teammate he is. And, the way that he communicates with me and with his teammates and the coaching staff, I couldn't ask any more of what Caleb already has brought to this team and to this program.
Yeah, I guess just a quick follow-up. You were kind of speaking on the AC Network special about how you were almost like scared of Coach Smith a little bit. Just
I was.
Right, yeah. If you could just kind of juxtapose that to maybe how Caleb has been with you, and maybe how rare kind of that composure is for.
Yes, I mean, it's a little bit different. I mean, I had a great relationship with Coach Smith, but it's just different. It's when I played, after the season, you couldn't be on the court with the guys until October 15th. So obviously I stopped by the office every day and hung out with Coach Smith and Coach Guthridge, but being on the floor with them was only limited to when the season started. Now you can be on the court with them all the time. And so having more access and more time with them, I think, players are more comfortable with their coaches, more so than when I played. And I really like it.
Coach, I got another history question for you about Coach Smith.
Okay.
I read a lot about history,
Yeah.
and I asked Sean May about this informally at the Raleigh Sports Club. A lot of schools, they lose touch. Their players and their students lose touch with their legacy coach, like Dean Smith, because there's been different coaches, different athletic directors, et cetera. That hasn't happened here in North Carolina. How have you guys maintained that connection back to Dean Smith? So these guys that weren't even born when he was coaching know about him and what he meant beyond basketball.
Well, I mean, that's a message that is preached every day to these guys. It's, the foundation of, what this program is about relationships and how it all ties together. One of the many reasons that I love our coaching staff is that, all of us didn't play for the same coach here at Carolina. And so, the communication and what we give to the players, we really give them the full body experience of what this place is like, but from different angles. As much as Carolina is Carolina, I'm a different person than Coach Williams. Coach Williams is a different person than Coach Guthridge, and Coach Guthridge is a different person than Coach Smith. And so I think it's really cool that we can give our shared experiences from a different perspective to our players and allow them to understand what this place has always meant and what it's like.
Could you imagine a school not knowing, their students and their players not knowing about a legacy coach like Dean Smith?
I could not imagine that, but it won't happen here because I talk about him and Coach Guthridge and Coach Williams every day.
Thank you, Hubert.
Hubert, for your staff, going into an exhibition game, I think the focus will be on the players once the game gets started. But going into the game, is this an opportunity for the staff to prepare for an opponent as if you would during the regular season?
Oh, we do. I mean, it's everything. It's scouting report. It's the same routine headed into a regular season game, and that's one of the benefits of playing in this game is we have 11 new players, so for them to understand the regular routine and preparation to play an opponent. And so yeah, that does play a part.
So Hubert, you emphasize improving size and rebounding as a priority in the offseason. What are you particularly looking for out of your bigs in this exhibition game coming up?
Not just specifically with the bigs, just for our team. I always have said that rebounding is the number one determining factor of an outcome of a game. And so, we've got to be a good rebounding team on both ends of the floor. And so those are things that we talk about and emphasize, every day. And irregardless if you have size or don't have size. That's an area that we really want to improve on and we want to be really good at this year.
I know you touched on it a little bit, but having freshmen get out there in front of an away crowd, how important is it for their development specifically outside of, I guess, the rest of the team in a sense?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's important for them to get out there on the floor. But, these guys have been exposed to a number of different situations. It's not like when I was playing, playing in an NBA arena for the first time was very different for me. These guys have done it since high school. They do it in AAU, and so the moment is never too big for them. And actually, it's the exact opposite. They run towards it. And so it'd be exciting for all of our players to be able to play on Friday.
Art. Hubert, I don't know if you saw it, but Izzo went off on the NCAA letting you sign people out of the G League now. Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah, that's in the news.
Okay.
And he said there's no rules, and he just went off on it. I know if you haven't seen it, I was going to say what do you think of it. But
I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
when you see it, think of my question.
Okay, I will. I'm a huge fan of Coach Izzo. Okay.
He did go off on it.
He did. Okay.
Hubert, we've met with Caleb, we've met with Derek, but the other freshman you brought in, Isaiah, what do you like about his game and what do you bring to the team?
Yeah, he's now practicing full practice, starting late last week. Still limited in some sense, but being able to participate in every drill during practice. And so it's nice to have Isaiah out there. I know that, last year throughout high school, he had broke his finger and then he re-injured it as soon as he got here. And so obviously a very gifted player, but just a great kid. I mean, just such a joy to be around. He loves being a part of a team, loves being here, and I'm so thankful that he's healthy enough to be able to participate fully in practice now.
Time for a few more.
Hubert, we've gotten to talk, like Michael was saying, we've gotten to talk to a lot of the guys this preseason, which has been great.
Good. They're funny, aren't they?
Let's keep it up.
Yeah. Well, let's go. Let's talk.
But a lot of them have sort of characterized the personality of this group as being competitive, being hungry, wanting to win, like that feeling already just from having even not played a game. Like, are those qualities that you have picked up on too with these guys? And is that something that's also important about seeing how that appetite shows up in a game setting like Friday night?
I agree with you. Definitely that has I've picked that up and noticed that this is a very competitive group. It's a team that I don't have to poke and prod to get after it. They already do, and that's exactly what you want. They compete extremely hard out there on the floor, and then they're in the locker room laughing and joking around, and that's the type of team that you want to have, and also it's also beneficial in games like this to be able to see how you handle. Everything is good when everything is going well, but how do you handle adversity?
Yeah.
If a team goes on a run, how do you come together? Do you get stronger? And those are things that it's really important to see and identify, especially before the regular season starts.
Hubert, where have you seen the most improvement through preseason practice to this point?
I've seen the most improvement defensively. That's just number one on my list, is for us to be a really good defensive team. And I've seen improvement in regards to individual one-on-one defense and the importance of communication and talking early, loud, clear, and constant team defense-wise. And so that's the area that I've seen the most improvement.
Have you seen that versatility with the guys? I mean, because you look at this roster, it looks like it can be comparable to that top 10 defense you guys had a few years ago.
No, it is. And actually, a couple years ago, we have more size and more versatility, and so it'll allow you to do different things on the defensive end. And so that's fun to practice. That's fun to watch and to teach and grow. And so, you're right. That versatility will allow us to be a lot more versatile on the defensive end.
Last three.
Hopefully
Andrew,
better.
I'm sorry. Last three, Andrew, Grant, Shelby.
So going back to Adam's question about the competitiveness, some of the guys are described as being chippy, either in open gym or in practice, and they say it in a very positive way.
Yeah.
As a coach, when you see chippiness like that, that doesn't spill over, it just stays there, what does that tell you about the kind of makeup your team has?
No, I like it being chippy, and that's competitiveness, when I was here at Carolina, there was 15 guys on the team, 13 of them were McDonald's All-Americans. And so the 12 years that I was in the NBA, I always had two teammates that wanted my minutes, my position, and wanted my contract. And so every day you had to show up. And actually, I spoke with them on Monday about the importance of your job and the responsibility. And I explained it to them because none of them have ever had a job. And they asked me, did I have a job? And I told them I had a number of jobs growing up. And I said that, your job and responsibility is to do two things, is to give everything that you got, empty the tank every day, and to execute properly. And I said that I have a job and responsibility as a coach, as a husband, and as a father. And regardless of how I feel, how much sleep I get, what my temperature is, my job and responsibility is to give my best in everything that I do and then try to execute properly. Not being perfect, but perfect in effort and attention to detail.
Grant.
Hey, Coach. I talked to Henry at AC Tip-Off, and one of the things he mentioned when he was at Arizona and playing against BYU, the elevation was a huge, was kind of an issue. Going to Salt Lake City and looking at this team, how can you gauge where the team is at, where they're at conditioned,
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I can
Conditioning,
understand.
yeah.
No, I can understand that. I haven't talked to the team about it, and I'm not going to. A number of teams play in Salt Lake City. So, regardless of the elevation, you still gonna have to get back on defense. Still gonna have to box out. Still gonna have to set a screen. You're gonna still have to knock down that open jumper. So, irregardless of what the elevation is, the responsibilities of our players on the floor, on both ends of the floor, never change.
Hubert, I was curious, again, a little bit more big picture, but the three triangle teams, women's teams, ranked in the preseason top 15, all three men's triangle teams from the top, 26, just as somebody that kind of grew up, around the ACC, playing in the ACC, coaching in the ACC. We're a ways away from that, but just the level of excitement just around hoops here in the triangle and you.
Well, I think the level of excitement of hoops has always been high. I mean, it's You know, I can't remember a time where there wasn't any excitement around college basketball around here. You know, I know you're talking about North Carolina, Duke, and NC State, but also Wake Forest. We have a number of other institutions, historical black colleges that are very successful, and so just the state of North Carolina, it's always an excitement heading into basketball season, and this year doesn't seem any different than any other year, and every other year it's been at the highest.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody.
Thank you.